course you're not. You're Yury Shenon. I mean, obviously you're not going to get nervous. You're all like Cool Hand Luke.
I try.
Yes, yes. Yuri, thanks for coming on. It's interesting because normally we have like attorneys and financial planners and commercial realtors and stuff. But
Sure.
after working with you and then getting to know you more, and then our recent lunch, I was like, wait a second, you'd be a really good person to come on. And one of the main reasons is because of this company that you run. I had no idea. I mean, I was amazed and especially with the timeliness in LA, with everything that's going on with the big disaster we had with the fires. I mean, I would love for you to just take a minute, just tell us about what your company does, because I was very impressed, especially by the intricacies, because you told me some more and more little details on what made you different. That really stood out to me. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a minute before we move into real estate hell.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Scott, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it. You and I got, to know each other over the years, helping us out with various properties, stuff like that. So it's always a pleasure to talk to you
my
about
pleasure. My
real estate
pleasure.
hell or roof sprinklers or, you know, the weather or whatever else. So,
Well, we'll
uh,
start. We'll start with roof sprinklers, and then
yes,
I'm sure we can go from there. But I would because I just think it's so timely. If we miss that, it'd be ridiculous. I mean, we have to do that. So tell us about your company.
sure. So I run a company. It's called Wildfire Roof Sprinklers. And just by the name, we customize external fire suppression systems for residential houses, mainly in Southern California. And so, you know, a lot of people are worried about fires in Southern California. Just what happened recently with all the fires in Malibu and in Pasadena and so on. And
Right.
so we're getting tons of calls on how can I protect my house from burning down or even possibly getting damaged from fires. And so we take an approach, a very holistic approach to how we design systems. We don't just throw pipes on a roof or anything like that. We design every system from the ground up. So obviously measurements, things like that, but we only use for the main components American made piping.
Hmm.
We color match all the piping to match the house, so that way it's practically invisible or at least camouflage in the house.
Love it.
We've tested, I don't know, 30 or 40 different types of sprinkler heads to make sure that it manages water consumption, pressure, and also coverage in the house. And so
Hmm.
when we install the systems on people's roofs, uh, one, they're not really visible that much, and two, they really protect the house against wildfires in the area. There's no guarantee, but there's definitely this is definitely the best thing you can do to protect your house against wildfires.
Absolutely. One of the things you told me we were talking. I love, for one, I love that you're using American-made products and that you match it to the house, because there's always going to be stuff on the house, but I can imagine that you can camouflage that really well. One of the things you mentioned was when we were talking was that because I was saying, well, what about if the water got shut off, or what if there's not enough water, like happened in the Palisades? And I thought, I was thinking, like, what do you use? And you go, well, the pool, because most people
Yes.
have the pool,
Yeah. So I get that question all the time. And
right?
so, what happened in the Palisades as far as the water pressure and supply to people's houses, that was a very unique situation that doesn't happen very often, if ever. But in many cases, what we can do is use the homeowner's pool as an auxiliary water source. And
Hmm.
so that's, usually pools in Southern California are anywhere from 15 to 20,000 gallons. So that
Hmm.
could buy you a few hours, depending on the size of your house, depending on, water consumption, that can give you a couple hours of runtime on your system, which is usually plenty depending on when the system is activated and how close the fire is to your home.
Uh-huh. No, I love that. I love that. So tell me, because what is there? Are there any other like particulars or details that you think would really stand out when it comes? Because it seems like you really, really, really thought about this.
Yeah,
Is there any
so
things you want to share?
yeah, there's a lot of people, popping into the industry that are just throwing PVC pipe on your roof or, using hose and things like that. We don't do anything like that. We take, a pretty scientific approach to how we design our systems. So
Mm-hmm.
we only use copper piping, which is non-corrosive. It lasts probably the lifetime of your house, probably even longer than that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and We use a special crimping process to connect the piping. So
Wait,
rather
say that again.
than we use a special crimping process, so how we
Okay.
connect the pipes together. So
Mm-hmm.
unlike other companies which will weld or solder the pipes together, which can break down over time, we crimp the pipes. So that guarantees that that won't suffer from weather damage or heat or anything like that. And well, look, it's the joys and challenges of working at home.
Yes.
So we use a special crimping process to connect the pipes together, unlike other companies that may use solder or welding,
Mm-hmm.
which can break down over time. This is not something that you're going to change once a year. This is something
Right.
that you'll install once and have for the lifetime of your house. And so we want to maintain proper pressure and not have leaks in the future and so on and so forth, especially when you need it most. Also, we have a very unique mounting process that we use.
Mm-hmm.
So, unlike other companies that may glue a system to your roof or drill it into your roof, we don't do anything like that. So, our system actually attaches to a shingle or to a tile
Mm-hmm.
with a special clip. And what this
Uh-huh.
clip allows us to do is we don't have to damage the roof, we don't have to damage anything like that, we don't have to glue it, and this mount actually has shock absorption built into it. So in case of an earthquake, your
I love it.
house, we're in California, so look, realistically, we're going to have earthquakes time to time, and houses in California are designed to have some level of flex to it. You don't want to have some flexible structure like a house attached to something that's very rigid like a fire system.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that ability to have that level of flex, it will give it the opportunity to not damage the fire system. So if someone needs to use a fire system in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, it's going to be leak free and work just the same way it did the first day. And
I
so
love it.
those are some of the unique features that we do. We also take into consideration vegetation in the area, wind patterns. So depending on where the wind is coming from, generally in a particular area, we may bulk up on sprinklers on a particular side of the house, things like that.
Awesome. Awesome. So I thought it was interesting. For one, that's great. Those are the things that's interesting because as you were saying them, that was all. That was the stuff that was coming back to me. So I think that's wonderful because it does make you very unique. So question or actually comment. When we sold your property up in the Hollywood Hills, I tell you, I literally, when the fires were going on, I was thinking like, oh my gosh, that house is going to burn down.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity. I know that
It was a great
you and your
experience.
wife know a lot of agents, and so thank you so much. I do appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
But as I recall, though, I mean the deal went smoothly. But as I recall, before we went in, we walked through the house, and there was a little bit of real estate hell that happened with you, me,
Yes.
the project
Yes.
manager, and someone I don't. It just is a little bit disgusting. I don't. It
We
just what happened there. It's like
Yeah, we had it was a house in the Hollywood Hills that we were renting, and we had a few young guys living there. Generally, that's fine,
sure,
but unfortunately, they were part of a rock group,
hmm
and they seemed to have lived a rock star lifestyle in the house that they were renting, and so we
your
had
house.
anything. Yes, in my house. And look, there's, I understand people have some wear and tear, totally get it. But, there was spray paint on the outside of the house, on the house, which was crazy, which I couldn't imagine. There was people surfing, actually using surfboards in the pool, which had different types of damage. There was footprints on the ceiling, which I don't really know how that even happened, but that was there.
I
That was there as well.
can only
Um,
imagine.
so there was cartons of cigarettes that were stuffed into gutters, along other things.
Yes,
So,
and you know what I remember too. I remember being there, and one of them answers the door only in like tight underwear. And I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
dang, man, that's bold. That's bold. And so you had given them
Yeah.
plenty of notice, and so they
Oh
were
yeah.
letting us through. And then during the walkthrough, there's a woman in this bed over here. There's two people sleeping over here, and I'm thinking, are we really? I guess this is the only time we can do the walkthrough. That was probably the easiest and cleanest time to do the walkthrough because you wouldn't want to do
Oh
it at
yeah.
night with the craziness.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
and then
I remember we were talking, I was like, one thing I forgot, they also parked a car that was leaking oil all over the driveway.
hmm
And so that damaged the entire driveway, had to get it redone. It was definitely some real estate hell there.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And then on the way out, I couldn't even believe it. We're walking out. This guy opens the door. He lets one rip, and then just acts like it was nothing. And I was thinking, like, wow. I just thought that it was just there's a very low class element to the way it was handled,
Oh,
and you
no,
stayed so dang calm.
thank you.
You,
Thank you.
yes,
I mean,
I would have been so hard.
inside I might have been boiling at the time,
Right,
but I just got to keep calm. What are you going to do?
absolutely. Another thing I remember about you is we do our team is known for the seller mini flip, so we bring in people to do stuff and resources and all that, so that we can take the house to the next level, get you the best price. And I remember you saying, Scott, I got this, and it was like it was like nothing to you. It was like, oh, I got this, but it's like, what's the big deal, right? I'm thinking like, oh, we're screwed. We're screwed. He thinks he knows how this shit works, and I'm gonna go in there and it's gonna be a freaking nightmare, and I'm just gonna have to stay calm because when you make up your mind, I can tell when you make up your mind, you've made up your mind. I'll give my piece, but then you've made up your mind. And I remember coming in a few weeks later, and I was just there along the way to help you with resources and stuff like that. But I remember coming back in and looking around and going like, son of a bitch, he did it. He
Thank you. I
actually
appreciate
did
that.
it. People get paid for doing this, and he was like, it's nothing. And the place turned out beautiful.
Thank you.
And there was, which it's interesting because usually there's my touch all over it, and then our team too. But I know you had seen some of our work and what we did, but you recreated it and brought in your own stager and everything, and I was just really impressed. Really
Yeah,
impressed.
yeah. I think it turned out really well, and then once we got it all done, you and your team got started. Transaction was really fast, really
Yeah,
smooth. No
yeah.
no issues. I mean, couldn't have asked for a better process.
Well, I will tell you that 9 out of 10 times, if the seller takes over, I come in there and it's a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
I'm working with one right now, really smart couple, just like you and your wife. Smart, successful couple, really pleasant. I've known them for years, and they're telling me that they're going to prep and do this. And I walked in and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was such a nightmare. And so I said, don't take this wrong, but in order to get you top dollar, we really need to do this, this, this. And now they allowed it. So second wave, they allowed it. And the place looks amazing, just amazing. And so we will get top dollar. They're going to get 2 or 3 times what they put into it back easy.
Yeah.
But you're like the one, you're like the unicorn. You're like the one who actually actually said he was going to do it and did. And I was going, wow. It was nice working with you because you would call me and say, what do you think about this? How important is this? And I would say, this is really important. I wouldn't worry about this. And you say, well, what about this? And we talk through it, and then you would just make a decision and do it. So, yeah, if that's the way you run your business, if that's the way you run Wildfire Roof Sprinklers, then people are going to be in great hands.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, listen, everyone has things that they're good at. Like those are the kind of things. Those are the kind of things that I try to do good at. So.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I appreciated about you too was that even during the negotiation process, when we got into escrow, and you took the advice, my advice on, I think you should go with this person, because you said you're not the one talking to them, so you're leaning on me for that. I thought that was great because I felt like we were choosing the right person out of the gate. And then I also like the fact that we wanted to go a little bit nuts with your marketing, and with flying the drones around and doing stuff. And you just really just said, "Hey, go for it. We love what you do." It's like you leaned into what you saw as our real strengths, but you took your strengths, and it was a good pairing. I really enjoyed it.
I think that was the right approach. I mean, look, you've done this for years, so I wanted you to run with it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. That was great because it was really nice to have you appreciate what we brought to the table as well. So
Absolutely.
I do have another question.
Yeah.
Do you, for one, do you have any other real estate hell that you've gone through that you want to share?
Fortunately, not really. I mean, we've had all sorts of renters at that house, but that one was topped the cake.
That was the one.
That was the one that broke the camel's back, so to speak.
Right, right. Well, the great thing is you sold just in time, and because of what you did for the prep, I really think that we got you top dollar, and I feel great about it. So
Yeah, thank you, thank
the
you.
timing worked
Again, the
out very well.
transaction was great, and I think even though I may have kind of managed the project from a refurbishing standpoint. Um, your advice and your guidance on what should we do, what should we kind of is not showstopper, things like that. That really helped, and
Hmm.
that helped us manage our budget, but that also helped us really get the most bang for our buck and sell it for a good price.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. It's so funny when you say that because I remember when we talked, you'd always say that was the word you used, showstopper. Is this because you wanted to know? Should we like because like the kitchen, for instance, the kitchen
Sure.
you when you put that kitchen in, that was like the premier kitchen. But now
Sure.
it's just a little bit because you guys lived in it. It was beautiful. But now it's a little bit more dated. So it was like,
Sure.
okay, let's
Yeah.
talk about what do we choose to keep? Can we keep the countertops even though there's this stain on the counter or
Yeah.
this mark? And we talked through all these little things and just had to figure out, okay, we're going to make this a showstopper, but there's going to have to be some give and take here.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, so I appreciated that. That was a great process. You really impressed me with the process. When I first met you, I was wondering, I wonder what it's going to be like because you have this presence about you, like and I'm thinking like this guy's really really confident, and I'm thinking
No.
I wonder how this is going to work. And it
Thank you.
was a great partnership, is what I felt like. I really did.
Yeah, I think so too. Next time we're buying a house or renting something, you're our first call.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I do have one more question before we get
Yeah.
off. Is there anything else you want to share about wildlife, wildfire roof sprinklers? Anything else at this point?
Yeah, so we work on all sorts of houses, anywhere from 1,000 square feet up to 30, 40,000 square feet. We do anything from basic roof sprinklers, manual control, all the way to roof sprinklers, eave systems, automation, smoke sensors, flame sensors, uh,
Oh, so you
things
got
like
all the bells and whistles.
all the bells and whistles. They can be controlled by an app on your phone. They can be automatically triggered by a smoke sensor. We're coming out with an app that actually will alert you to fires in your area that you
Uh
can
huh.
activate systems. So
Oh
we're
wow.
and we're usually anywhere from 30 to 50% cheaper than other competitors that are offering similar services to us.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Well, I'm so glad that you came on because normally I wouldn't even be pumping up a product, but I think this is so important, and I think the way you do it is excellent. And so to me, it was like, hey, we're going to make the exception with you.
Oh, well, I appreciate you having me on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking to people all the time in the hills, and there's beautiful houses in the hills with views, but then
Mm-hmm.
there's also like a hillside that is risky or in a high risk fire zone, and
Mm-hmm.
so we get questions all the time. Well, what can I do to mitigate my chances of damage? We're dealing with new builders that are actually installing these in attics, so they're even more camouflaged and in new builds. So I think this is going to be a thing that a lot of people are going to be installing in their houses because it's a big risk in California.
I totally agree, and I've got to imagine that having that installed is going to save them a lot of money too on insurance.
Well, every insurance company is a little different right now because it's such a new
Mm-hmm.
product. So I always recommend for the clients to contact their insurance company. It's a hit or miss
Sure.
right now. I'm confident that within the next few years, insurance companies are definitely going to discount insurance or fire insurance if you have a system like this installed in your house. They may even make it mandatory for some areas. So I've
Hmm.
heard rumors of that. So it's definitely going to be a really important thing. A lot of houses these days already have internal fire suppression systems,
Right.
but there's very few that have external fire suppression systems. So it's going to be a big deal. Not only are you saving your house, you may even be saving your neighbor's house too, because it doesn't only protect your roof. That's one thing that a lot of people, talk about. Well, a lot of the houses in California are using fire resistant materials, roof materials, stucco, and so on, which is true. But what happens is that embers get into attics, or embers get under your eaves, or embers
Sure.
light a tree on fire. Well, those materials in your houses, they're fire resistant. They're not fireproof. So
Hmm.
after a certain time, they're still going to catch on fire. If your house is completely soaked and there's constant water spraying, anywhere from 20 to 40 feet outside the perimeter of your structure, there's a very low chance of anything catching fire.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Um, one more thing. I keep on saying one more thing, but then you say something, and that's okay. This will be the last one, and then we'll
Sure.
get Nico back.
Okay.
The remind me how you tested the sprinklers once, because you have a nice home, and I think that didn't you try it out on your own house?
Yeah, yeah. I have it on my own house, and I just have a button on my phone. I could turn on anytime I want. So it's fun to show my friends and family. And then everything is soaked around, obviously. So we get a free
I
copy
love
that
it.
way. Yeah,
So
and ancillary benefit is it washes off my solar panels,
oh
so
wow, see there
they
you
run a
go.
little bit more efficiently after I wash them off. So that's kind of nice too.